Welcome back. In this step, let's add a quick to-do delete button. So we would want to add a delete functionality for to-dos, and that's step 25. Let's get started. What I'll do is start off with adding a th, small th, empty one for now because I don't really want to put anything in the header for it, and I would want to add a new delete for every to-do. So I want to add a delete button for every to-do. So how do I do that? I'm in the for loop and I would add a delete button in here. So the way we do that is typically a/a delete, right? So that's basically the way. So let's refresh and see what would happen. So now I have a delete button. It's not really well formatted. So let's go ahead and quickly format it. So delete class is equal to, this is also a button. So we'll say btn, but this is a danger button. So because if somebody clicks the delete, it's danger, and Bootstrap has very good names. So it's button danger, and aha, there you go. See how it's in a red color, indicating that it's kind of a danger thing to delete, because once you delete a to do, it's gone forever. That's good. So we now have the delete button ready, but now we would want to redirect this to a URL, right? When user clicks on the delete, where does it go? We didn't tell anything, so it just hangs in there. So we need to tell now where this has to go. We tell that by using href. So we want to go to a delete to do. That's good. So now when I click with a slash, now when I click this link, it would go to delete to do. So it goes to delete to do. Oops, we need to refresh and then click delete. It goes to delete to do, and it throws an error. So what we would want to do is on delete, there's no page to show. So what we would need to really do is delete that and show the same page again. So we basically need to redirect to the list page after deleting the to do. So let's create a small method in the list, in the to do controller. In the to do controller, I would add in a new method. So basically what we would want to do is do something very, very similar to the post method of add to do. So I'll copy that method, but I would want this to be happening in the get method because we are not going to enter anything. I would want to use the get method, and this is not add to do, this is delete to do, and delete to do again. And here I would want to, what do we want to do? We want to delete the to do, right? So let's not worry about the functionality right now. So I'll just say delete to do. I mean, this is just a comment, so this would not add any functionality to it. But what we want to do is we would want to redirect back to the to-dos page. That's pretty good. So now whatever comes in, when we click the delete button, we want to delete and then redirect. We'll leave the model and the description in here for now. There is nothing coming in for description and model, but I'll leave them in for now. What we have added in is a simple delete to do method with the path as delete to do, accepting get method, and it redirects back to the list to do page. So we are not really deleting a to do yet. Now let's go back and click delete again, and you'd see that required string parameter desc is not present because we are saying there's a request parameter desc which would come in, but we are not passing in anything in the request. So I'll remove that for now, and let's go back and delete. You see that there is a delete request being fired, and the delete is redirecting to list to dos, and again name is equal to in 28 minutes comes up. We did something to prevent that from happening. So we did a model.clear earlier to prevent the name, which is a session attribute, to be passed in the URL. So let's now refresh the page and click the delete again, and now you'd see that delete list to dos is called without the session parameters being passed in. That's good. So now we are able to click the delete and come back to this page again, but we have not really deleted the Spring MVC thing yet. So now I want to delete this row. How do I tell to delete this row and not this row? So I want to delete this specific one. When I click delete, how do I pass that information to the controller? I would need to pass it in some way. What we can do is we can use a get parameter. One of the ways of passing that information is by using a get parameter. Delete to do. To this I would add a parameter id is equal to the to do.id that I would want to delete. So now I'm doing a delete to do. I'm passing in an ID. Let's refresh the page. Sorry, not this page, this page. Let's refresh it and now click delete. So you'd see now that delete to do ID is equal to 1 is being passed. In the params, there is ID 1. Now what we need to do is we will need to delete that particular row in the controller. So let's go to the controller. To this particular thing, we are getting a ID passed in. So what I'll do is we need to add a request param, but the type of this particular request param is not string, but this is int ID. So that's basically the type of the request param that we are getting in. And once we get the request param, what do we want to do with it? We want to delete that particular to do, right? So we already have a service method to do that. So service dot delete to do and pass in the ID. That's it. So delete to do, if you look at the implementation of it, would iterate to the list and it would check the matching ID and it would remove that particular thing. So that's really good. Let's refresh the page and click delete. Aha! That's perfect. Now you would see that the delete to do is really working and you can delete the to dos. One thing you need to remember is actually we are not really deleting it from the database. What we are really deleting it from is a static list that we have stored on the server. So when you restart the server, you would get back all the to-dos. So whenever you're playing with this and you find that you deleted everything, all that you need to do is restart the server and then all the to-dos would be back. So that's one of the benefits of playing with lists and not really talking to the database. We can add one more to-do and delete that one as well. Learn to write code, add, and it's in here. I can delete that. So that's perfect. So we have now the functionality to add and delete a to-do. In this step, we added the functionality to delete a to-do. Until the next step,